Hi everybody, it is the Hallie Quinn Show or the Q&H Show. Today we are going to talk about when it is time to surrender. This is for anyone who has a hard time letting go of control and you are experiencing anxiety, frustrations, impatience, all of that. And for those of you guys who are seeing us for the first time, we are a duo dynamic. We host self-love workshops. There's a different theme every single month, and we have one coming up in 2 weeks, and it's called Patience in Intimacy. So if you want more information, just click on that link. We also do meditate and conversate. We just got out of it every single Thursday at 2:30. So if you're interested, also click above. Alrighty, so yeah, every week we go live to talk about anything to do with self-love, transformation, healing, because we want you to know that you're not alone in this journey. We want you to know that there's support over here. There's a safe space over here, and we're here. We're here to have conversations that are so needed to be had, and yeah, allowing you guys to join us on our mission, on our journey. Hi, Jillian. Hi, everyone else that's here. Feel free to comment down below. Where are you tuning in from, and what brought you to us? All right, let's get this started. We were coming up with this topic because of what's been going on as far as like the fires and quarantine. Things that we actually don't have control over. And so you were talking about how you've been able to flow when you talked about something, when you were able to accept that you don't have control over X, Y, and Z, and how that's actually allowed you to still have your day. You said something like, where like, I'm still gonna have my day, and I'm like 1,000%. And I know for us, sometimes we feel helpless, we feel really bad for this planet, and we're all there with you. And like there's like this and to that though, you know, like, do we have to stay sad and in agony and in sadness? Do we have to stay there? Like, there's more to this, right? Like, how can we still have a day and still feel good even though perhaps there's chaos going around us? So
I think it's funny because when I woke up this morning,
yes,
I looked out my window and I was like, oh man, it's so dense.
Yeah.
It's so dense.
Right.
And yesterday I did a little day trip where I got to see a blue sky and it felt so good. And then when I came back, you know, and so I was laying in my bed and I started to get into this like fear paralysis kind of a space until I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. And as soon as I like said that to myself, I just like snapped out of it and was like, all right, well, there's nothing I can do about it, which means I can carry on with my day. I can have my day.
you can have your day.
I can have my day. And I got out of bed and I made myself, you know, my matcha latte, and I, you know, started my day and have had a really beautiful day because of it. But I also, you know, it was kind of like without having that reminder of like, this is so outside of my control, you know, we can really stay really stuck. We can stay really stuck in fear. We can stay really stuck in sadness. We can stay really stuck in pain. And this isn't just for global issues. This is also for our personal issues. And I wanted to kind of open up the conversation with you, Quinn.
Yeah.
And talk about like in connections and in relationships, you know, this same theme of like, well, there's nothing I can do. I surrender control, you know?
Yeah.
So what do you think in that context? Like, when is it time to say that, to have that conversation with yourself?
Ooh, it is time when I see that I'm the one suffering, you know, when I see myself, I'm in pain. And see, it always starts from being aware, right? Like, wow, I'm being frustrated over somebody else's action. Wow, I'm being frustrated with their decision making. Wow, I'm being frustrated. And it's about somebody else.
Yeah.
And so when we can be aware and know that, okay, I need to process this, like really be with this. Because when we notice it, that's one part of it, like, is that truly enough to make a difference in your day? We need to really, it's almost like take that awareness and bring more attention to it. So you really ingrain like, okay, yes, I am being frustrated over somebody else. So where's my safe space to go and process this right now? Like, I need to go somewhere. So where's that for you? Is it in your bedroom? Like, is it to your journal? Is it to like, just close your eyes and like be with that? And then, really, really release in a very healthy way and realize that, wow, like, where's this coming from? I know that when I get frustrated over like other people, it means that there's something about my life that I'm not taking control over, right? Because like, it's almost like, I love you, Mom. My mom always pops up. she's always the first one to be like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You should do this. You should do that. And she needs to have a grip of some sort of control. And if we're feel like we're losing control on the inside, we tend to grasp on the outside. Let me try to control something on the outside, and unfortunately, that brings more misery, because we realize that we actually can't not have control over other people. So as far as pertaining to relationships and people, that's the ultimate realization. So we need to realize that. And where can we really ingrain that awareness? We need to go to our safe space and perhaps express in a healthy way to open up even more, like, yes, I'm really realizing this.
Yeah.
I need to do something with this now.
Well, and the thing that I love about this is that it's really simple and it works really fast. The like, oh, well, I don't have control over this. I don't have control over that person and what they choose to do. I don't have control, we only have control over ourselves. So I love what you're saying about like anytime we feel like we need to, like, it's our responsibility or it's our job, unless it's our child who is in a dependent age on us,
right.
That's kind of like the only circumstance where you're actually responsible for another being. Otherwise, no control, and as soon as you realize that and remember where you do have control, then you can like snap out of the externalization of trying to have control and go to where you actually need to take the reins, in your own life and in your own situation.
Yeah.
I just know that like there have been so many times where when I'm feeling like my energy is low or my energy is depleted, and where I like to ruminate is on like how other people aren't showing up for me.
Right? See, we're thinking about other people
are really coming through. And then when I'm able to snap out of it and remember that like, oh, I'm supposed to show up for me. That's what I'm actually saying, is that like, I'm not showing up for me. And then I can take those action steps accordingly. And then once I am, I don't even give a fuck about what other people are doing anymore.
Yes. And I just keep on thinking about your day, because you did have a moment where you felt paralyzed. Was it fear paralysis?
Right? Which is fear paralysis this morning.
Yeah. And how many of you guys can relate to that, where you notice the negative feelings and you're just there? And then when you process, you were alone, you were able to like actually have some space to like think about that. And then you came up with that realization of, that's something that I do not have control. And once those words were said, you got up and made yourself tea.
Yeah, and then I just had the most like beautiful flowy
You're getting a grip of your life.
Place.
You're getting a grip of your day. Yeah. Getting a grip of your emotions, your mental health, and making some damn tea, damn it, because let's start my day with something for me.
Well, and I think what's so big about this and why you're pointing it out, Quinn, is that like we can feel so overwhelmed by the most intense, heavy emotional state ever. And then one tiny little mindset shift can completely change that, like instantly, right? And then it's like, okay, because I don't have control over that, I don't have to fix it. I can't fix it. there's nothing I can do about the fires. There's literally nothing I can do about them.
Right, unless you grow some rings real quick and then have an abundance amount of water. Let's just fly over there.
Yeah.
But until then, you guys, let's just get a grip of our day.
So then it's like, okay, well then, like, let me still have a day that feels good for me.
Right. And guess what? When you have a good, decent day where you were able to really make your day, you're also, how would I say that? I want to say you're creating space, because like with the loving feeling that you're giving to yourself and you're cultivating in here, guess what? That opens up even more space to be kind and considerate, and I just see this like this process where it's like you're taking care of yourself, you're making room for yourself, you're healing, and then there's energy and love in that. And when it's true love, you, how do I say it? You move forward in that love. So you show love and you find ways to spread
and you
your
can
love.
show up for those who are in need right now.
Yes.
Because so many people are in such dire, true, real need, like losing their homes and stuff. So if you have capacity because you chose to feed yourself instead of, stay in fear, then you can help.
Yes, and this is where we talk about like being selfish in a very healthy way. It leads you to being selfless, right? Like I've had conversations with just a few, not once in a while, where they're like, self-love is just selfish. And they're like, but what about this? What about this? What about that? When you're being selfish in a good, healthy way is when you see yourself having the space and room to help others.
Yeah, it's true, because I feel like if you have the mentality that self-love is selfish, you stay with like this much bandwidth, for yourself and for others. And then once you release that belief and give it to yourself, like it's your full-time job, then your bandwidth gets so big.
Right, you're making room. Look at that.
And then you can serve yourself and serve others in really meaningful and impactful ways.
Yeah, and in that space, how you just did that, like there's consideration in there. It's not, you have the space to be considerate of other people too, and not like, oh, F your feelings, I'm just gonna, right? So there's a lot of beautiful things that can be created because of that space that you're creating for yourself. I'm gonna bring this closer to read the comments.
Yeah.
Hi Crystal. It's been a while since we've seen you. Linda, we be seeing you. But pray for rain to come back. Yes, it will come. Linda said, I just told myself whenever I feel that there's a negative energy field, then say something more positive, right? And that's you paying attention to that negativity and asking yourself, what can I say to myself right now that's positive? So that's a process, Linda. I hope that you know that. That's a process. That is a practice. And to enhance that even more, feel free to journal that out. Feel free to audio journal that out. Feel free to express it in arts or something like that. That will even enhance that experience for yourself even more. Yeah, Michelle, vote for yourself, like how you did for yourself today. Yeah. Been there, done that. She was referring to the fear paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Who has not been there? Yeah, I just think of like the heaviness, right? Like when you notice yourself being stuck, like that's the negative thoughts are heavy, you guys. It will literally like pull you down. You don't want to do anything. That's what I see. It's like heavy.
I want to share something that I got from a movie the other day. I watched this movie called Defending Your Life. It's from the 90s.
Ooh.
It has Meryl Streep in it and some guy, I forget his name. And it's like a love story, but in the afterlife. And so they meet when they're in basically the phase in between figuring out if they're going to come back to Earth and repeat another life and repeat their lessons, or if they're going to move on. And so they're kind of like in this judge scenario where there's these judges and there's a defender and a prosecutor.
Oh my God.
And they're looking, it's such a good movie. Highly
That's so
recommended.
cool, yeah.
They're looking at different days from the lives that they had. And this guy they were looking at 9 days of his life. And the whole theme is like, how did you do with fear? Did you face your fear? It wasn't even about like being a good person. Like it was all about facing fear.
Wow.
And the fears that we have. So ever since I've seen that movie, which was like 2 or 3 nights ago, it's been really putting me like in great awareness of like, where am I afraid? And what does it mean to face my fear right now? Because if I want to grow and evolve as a soul, then that's the journey. The journey is through facing fear. So, and like surrendering control where we don't have any control is a way that we can really work with fear constructively.
It's so funny that you brought this up because you said you watched it 2 or 3 nights ago. I went to go see a movie on Tuesday for Cheap Tuesdays. By the way, El Dorado Hills movie theaters is open. Me and Pila were happy, went all the way out there to watch a movie. Anyways, we watched a movie, New Mutants. It was kind of semi-scary, but it had a very good message. And it talked about what beast are you feeding? And there was a message in the movie where when you feed fear, you're building that fear to be so big and it becomes very real in your life.
Yeah.
Very real. And then there's like this other side where it's like, oh, but if you feed love and all of that stuff, you can quiet down the fear.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you talked about fear. I was like, I saw a movie that talked
Yeah,
about what
we
beast are you
both-
feeding. So I was like, we be in alignment like that sometimes, even from the colors that we wear. Yeah. But fear with like control. Whew. Yeah, there's always the negative side effects of trying to control other people, being obsessed with other people versus getting a grip of our day and letting ourselves process the pains that we have, to come out of it with acceptance. And like we both shared about our day, how it flowed, and like how you got up today is just a perfect example of letting go of the control. Like, what if that became a practice for everyone that's watching? You know, like what if, you know, like, because every time when you move on with that action showing that you're choosing to take control in your life, like that becomes like a lifestyle. Like it starts to really be ingrained and you start to catch it faster when you are acting from a place of lack of control for yourself, and when you're feeling negative energy about something that you do not have control over.
Well, and I think that there's something too, especially from like first thing in the morning, because oftentimes when we're in the dream world, we're like working out a lot of fear and working through a lot of anxieties. And so, you know, we can dream really tumultuous, even if we don't remember the dreams, but we're carrying that emotional energy of the dream. And so I'm a heavy duty dreamer, and I usually remember my dreams, and like oftentimes they aren't very pleasant. And so I wake up like, like in that heaviness, right? Of like what I was just dreaming about. Last night I had a dream that I was having like the worst day of my life. I got in a fight with 4 people.
Oh my God, damn
And just like bad thing after bad thing kept happening. And I woke up being like, feeling so defeated.
Wow.
And so like having, and that's what the dream realm is for. The dream realm is to help us like process our fear.
Right.
So we're going to dream about our fear in these exaggerated ways. And it's like all perfect. But we have to, when we wake up, it's a really good time to like get right in the mind in whatever way that needs to be, you know?
1000%. You got me thinking about my dream now. Yeah, it's, yeah. And then what comes up for me when you share that is also like, I know this is so hard, but like really allowing that, like every time when we experience heaviness or pain, like allowing that as like information and not being so attached to it. You know, I know that's easier said than done, but that idea, that thought, that practice is coming up for me where like, okay, this pain is not against me. This pain is information. It is showing me what I need to work through, what I get to work through. Like, thank you for coming up. Thank you for coming up. Because perhaps the pain is trying to communicate with you, saying, hey, I'm ready to be processed and freed.
Yeah.
Let me out. Let me out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was our talk. So love it that you guys are joining us. Once again, we're healers. We are on a mission to heal ourselves, and so that we can support others in their healing journey. If you want workshop information, click above. If you want to participate in our Meditate and Conversate, click above. Or just message us if you guys are interested. And we are here to support and hold space, safe space for you guys to let go of what you cannot control and get a grip of your day and process your pain. So if you guys ever have any questions, DM us, right? Like
We're here
support.
for you.
I mean, gosh, you've seen support in your life come through and you saying yes to support, I've seen in my life,
It changes your life.
Helps. It does change your life. You're like, I don't have to do this by myself. It's like you got your wings, but let me just kind of hold your flap it a little bit.
You know, used to having your wings.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Great being here. Any last words you want to share before we say bye-bye? No. Right. We said what we came here to say. All right, guys. We will see you guys next week, and much love.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.